Hey guys, and welcome back to Regrexit. Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. I have to apologise for my abrupt ending in my last video on Friday. I was going to do a follow up on the weekend, but I didn't get round to it. But in Brexit England, today we have two things actually going on. First of all, the government have got to explain to the people and the media, they have got to explain to the people on how the GDP figures, right, are even worse than they predicted. Of course, it was always going to be worse, because you know why it was always going to be worse? Because Brexit is the most wasteful thing that any country has ever done at any stage, right? For a country to do this to itself, the people in the country, there's got to be something wrong with the people in this country, and I put it down to, what do I put it down to? Racism. That's what I put it down to. You could only get yourself in this position, right, because another country attacks you, right, or your country attacks itself. Your country commits harry-carry. It goes up to a mountain and then flings itself off. Or, the second story, it does a Prince Andrew, who doesn't even have his title anymore, but yet for all, he wants to put himself back into the public eye, and the public don't want to see his ass, because you know why? The public never liked him. Never ever liked Andrew. Right? The last time Andrew was liked was after the Falklands War. Right? Everyone was like, oh yeah, well, he was flying helicopters. Probably flying helicopters about 200 miles away from where any action was going on. But that's not the point. He was in the war zone. There, that's the point. But from since then, the public has never ever liked him. Do you know what I mean? And the worst thing he done, was went to Jeffrey Epstein after Jeffrey Epstein come out of prison, and today, he wants to go to the what's it called? There's some type of royal garter. The oh shit, what's it? There's something garter, and me too. I have no clue, right? But the Order of the Garter. Me neither, right? But Prince William and Charles have said, your face is not going to be seen in public no more. We don't want to see you there no more. And that full Tony Blair is also getting like the Order of the Garter, which is supposed to be an award for the most bravest of the brave. And think to yourself, Tony Blair sat in this country while he sent our terrorist soldiers out to go and murder people in their own country. Right? He sat over here while doing that. Right? Now, when I said our terrorist soldiers, when you go to someone else's country uninvited and start murdering the people, and we've got up to 750,000 dead, right? Then I can say that our soldiers and the Americans and all the coalition forces acted like terrorists. Yeah. So we could say the coalition terrorist forces that went into Iraq, and now Tony Blair is being given a big award. Do you know what I mean? Alongside, but Prince Andrew's not allowed to go. None of them should be there. Right? Both of them should be banned. Right? But remember where we are. Right? We're in Brexit Britain. Right? Where everything's confused. And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me. And a special thanks to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that signed up. So thank you so much for that. I'll go through all your messages. I'll answer as many as I can. But I will like all your messages for definite. No. After watching, I don't know if you've seen the January 6th hearings in America, what's been going on there, right? And there's millions of people now saying, well, why is this man not locked up? Because when you hear the stories what are coming out, right, the fact that when Donald Trump was told that they were saying to hang Mike Pence, and Donald Trump went, yeah, hang the motherfucker, that's right. Hang his ass, right? Donald Trump was like, I'd like to take him and hang him myself personally, right? So when you've got all of the all the testimonies coming out, and then the fact that Donald Trump just threw Ivanka under the bus, right? Because Ivanka said, no, well, you know what, I agree with the I agree with, I can't remember what his name was, but she just said, I agree with him that there was no voter fraud. I respect him and I agree with him, right? And was it William Barr? I think so, right? And then you had all of these people that was around Trump saying, listen, we all told him, we all said to him, right, that there's been no collusion, right? There's been no voter fraud. Right? But he still carried on and carried on, trying to steal. At one stage he just said to their basically their Solicitor General. I can't remember what is it called over there, right? But he basically said to him, "Well, I'll tell you what, yeah, you just go along with it, and I'll do the rest." This is how This is how corrupt this man was. To put in charge of a country, right? You see, when you put clowns, right, and corrupt people in charge of countries. I mean, if you've had the casino go bankrupt, right, then you should be nowhere near, right, the seat of power. You've had a casino go bankrupt. Get that in your head. A casino. The only thing they do is collect money. Right? That's what they do. It's not like, it's not like a shop what sells goods and oh god, they can't get hold of any of their goods anymore. No, people go there, right? Not to buy anything. They go there to spend money. Right? And you've got to imagine, right, that probably 95% of people who go into casinos, right, are not on the winning side. Right? Otherwise the casino wouldn't be there. Right? So we could say that most casinos, yeah, are raking it in. But Donald Trump could have a casino go bankrupt. I mean, you're talking about someone who's had more businesses go bankrupt than most people could have ever imagined. I mean, he's lost billions of dollars. When I say billions, that gave him 425 million in the first place. How much of that do you think you think he's worth 425? He's not worth that now. I mean, look, everything's gone bankrupt. Whether it's Trump University, Trump beef, Trump whiskey, right? All his hotels are going awry. His golf courses are going bad. Everything. So, and then you put someone like that in charge of of that country, right? Well, you say, well, what was you expecting? Wasn't you expecting, them to have like some type of massive coup attempt, right? When this man knows that, he's not going to get a second term, and that's what he really wanted, was a second term, because he wanted to do longer than Obama. You know, you can't put people who are just blatantly vindictive into power and expect them to start doing the right thing, right? And then when you listened, right, to the transcripts, right, from the 6th of January, you know that this man, he should certainly be in prison, nowhere else for him. Kwasi Kwarteng, or Kwasi Kwarteng, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, right, wants to know if the 5p of fuel has helped. And we say, well, maybe if they didn't put like, about 60 pence on in the last, like, few months, maybe a 5p would have helped. If our fuel cost was where they're supposed to be, which is probably around £1, right? Because that in America they're paying, right? They're paying what? They pay about £5 a gallon. But for some reason in this country, you know how they sell it to us? They sell it to us, right, by the litre, because then that way they could just show us, look, not even £2 a litre. Right. But by £2, right, when it gets up to £2 a litre, that's over £10 a gallon. The Americans are complaining about $5 a gallon. Right, we're very close to £10 a gallon. That's what we're close to, right? But as I said, they keep selling it to us in litres, right? So I'm sure even when the imperial measures come around, if they have to cut the litres out, then they'd have to sell it to us in pints. So that's what's in pints, right? Rather than right, but that's what they'll have to do, right? Because they don't want you to see the real price what you're paying, because fuel is really charged by the gallon. It's not really charged by the litre. But that's what they like to do over here. They like to do it over here in that way, so they could just mask the price. And they've been doing that forever. They've been doing that all the time. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they've just started doing it. You know. Boris Johnson has asked the public not to ask for any more money from their employer, even though his bitch ass and the rest of the politicians here have just given themselves, well, not say given themselves, they've just had a £2,000 rise for them. And they're saying to you, You don't ask for more. Don't you dare. Because you know what, yeah? You don't deserve no more. Deserve nothing. Right? What you deserve to do is you deserve to take a little flag, right, and then go, right, and enjoy things like the Jubilee, right, and praise the family who get over £80 million a year from the public purse. Go and praise them. Don't worry about yourself, right? Because you deserve nothing. And I say that to you as well, right? Because you know something, right? You deserve nothing. Because you know what? You keep voting for these racist motherfuckers, right? Who treat you like absolute shit, like crap, like garbage, right? And you keep on voting for them, right? So the only people to blame, right, for your situation is yourself, right? Don't look to anybody else to blame. Blame yourself, right? Don't look to me to blame me. It's not my fault, right? That you're living in these times, right? And you've put a complete clown in charge of the country who can turn around to you and say to you, "Don't you ask for more money?" When he's got £1,000 a roll wallpaper up in his shit that he didn't even pay for, right? Do you know, right? Do decorations cost him, what was it? Something like £80,000 or £90,000 to decorate the flat. 80 or 90,000 to decorate the flat, and this man has the cheek, the audacity, the liberty to tell you, don't you dare ask for nothing more from your boss, right? Because you'll crash the economy. I say, Boris, you've already crashed the motherfucking economy. What do you think's happened to it, right? What's happened to it? Yeah, the economy has crashed into Boris motherfucking Johnson. That's what's happened, right? And now he's got the cheek, right? The stupidity, the idiocy. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to say the idiocy. That word I can never say. But he's got that to turn around and say to you, don't you dare. Don't you even think about it. Right? Don't ask your boss for more because you'll crash the economy, you fucking loser. That's what he said. Right? That is exactly what he said. Because you know why he said that? Because he knows he can say that to you. Right? And he knows he can get away with it. Right? And that's why these politicians can just say, well, yes, we got a £2,000 rise. That's correct. But for you, no, you don't deserve no extra money. Right? We was out banging pots and pans for nurses, and NHS staff and for firemen and for shop workers and for police officers. But why do any of those people deserve any extra money? They vote for us. They know what they're voting for. And if they're stupid enough to do that, then when they get a good kick in the unmentionables, what would they be expecting? That's exactly what's going on in these people's minds. Because you people with your tiny little minds, you really think, right, that these people have got... I don't understand how you could think that these people have your interest when you've got Boris Johnson who can say to you, hey, don't ask no more money. And Kwasi Kwarteng, whatever, right? Who can say to you, the 5p of fuel, is it helping? I'll say, can I just take you up to Mount Everest and then so I can push you off? Right? Because the stupidity, right, of both of those things, right, it just shows, right, a lack, right, of any type of competence that these guys could possibly have, right? To say the 5p and we've just got £2,000 rise, right? But you don't ask for nout. And by the way, right, the 5p that we took off fuel, is that helping? You just think to yourself, right now, right, you could crush a grape, right? You could get a grape and you could just crush it, right? Yeah, exactly. And then we have the tube strikes that's going on, and a lot of people are, oh well, look, the train driver, and it's not even to be honest, it's not even the train drivers. This is more the staff that work around them. Do you know what I mean? But obviously the train drivers can't work if you haven't got the signallers and the maintenance staff. The train drivers can't work, right? So the train drivers don't have to come out on strike anyway, right? So the train drivers can turn up to work, right? Because the government have already said that they're gonna get in some temps, right? And I say, well, didn't realise there was like temps in that type of work. I know, because it's not like driving a bus or driving a lorry. Do you know what I mean? You have to have people that have driven a train before, so that means you'd have to have agencies set up where train drivers. Do you know what I mean? Are just waiting around. You've got loads of train drivers just waiting around. Thinking, oh yes, let's just wait today to see if there's a train. One of the train companies phoning, and I can't really see that. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that they will just be like, well, Jim can't come in today, but I've given Alan a call and he's coming in to cover Jim's shift. I think they'd probably work like that rather than expect to rely on some type of agency. So I don't know where the government's going to get agency workers from. But I mean, the agency workers they'd have to get is like signallers as well. And I mean, again, I don't know if agency workers, if you have agency workers, the signal, right? Instead of them just saying, you know what, let's just get this shit sorted out with this staff. No, they say no. These people don't deserve no more money. Okay, and what we're going to do, furthermore, what we're going to do is we're going to set the public onto them. Right, we'll take it to the court of public opinion and see what the public have to say. Well, right now, yeah, a lot of the public are saying, well, we agree with these people because you know what, you've been shafting us for too fucking long right now, right? So we agree with what they're doing, right? But you've got so much people. Oh well, these drivers, right? They're getting like £52 or £55 a year, right? So why are you even saying that? What's that got to do with anything? What has that got to do with anything? They say, well, nurses and police officers, they don't get that much money. Say, well, perhaps they're not being paid enough. Perhaps that's where you should start your argument with. They're not being paid enough. Not starting your argument with the rail workers, right? Because they've got a genuine beef. Okay, even if they was paying, even if they was paying 100, if they were paying 100 grand, right, it would just simply mean, yeah, that inflation has just gone so far out of touch with the rest of the country that now money is worthless in this country. That's all it would mean. Right, and it would just simply mean that other people in other jobs are not being paid enough. But it's just so quick, yeah, that the working classes are quick to want to turn on each other, right? But this was all very smart from the government. The government have set this shit up from way back. They've set this shit up, right? So because they understood from a long time ago, right, that if you can go out and you can protest, right, then the country finds it difficult. So the breaking up of the unions, right, and the hike in the house prices was the thing that just said, you know what, go out and protest, right? But remember, when you go out and protest, yeah, that you got to pay some of the most highest house prices in the world, right? So your mortgage is not cheap, or your rent, right? If you're renting, it's going to be more than you're paying on a mortgage, right? So so we're in a situation, right, where we can't go out and protest. Until we can go out and protest is on a Saturday or a Sunday, and, right, you go and protest outside the House of Parliament, right, and you got this all that'll be in there is the cleaners and the police, and they'll be like, is this about us? Is this because that building behind me, there's no one in it. Right, so you can protest as much as you want. You can go down to 10 Downing Street because Boris Johnson will be at Checkers. So you can protest as much as you want on the weekend, right? But no motherfuckers hearing you. Right? They're not hearing you unless it's a really massive protest and you're talking about a couple of million people. That's when you talk about. That's when they'd have to set up. But as the working classes, we're not together. We prefer to knife each other in the back. That's how we're soon to be. Do you know what I mean? We're soon to look at our neighbour and think, well, why are they driving like a newer Ford Focus than me? Do you know what I mean? And theirs is like the SE version. I've only got the Focus Blue. Right? So instead, but that's what they've got us all doing. We're fighting against each other, right? While these guys are just creaming off the top as much as they can, right? Everything they're getting, they're just going off the top as much as they can, right? And that's the reason why, right, that we've got in a country, yeah, where the Chancellor of the Exchequer has lost £11 billion, right, in interest payments to the bank, right? 11 billion on that, right? And then when we look at the PPE scandal. Okay, £4 billion worth of PPE to be incinerated, burnt, but they said they're going to use it for energy. But right, so just think of those two figures. So those two figures is like what? Ooh, if we add them together, we don't have to subtract anything. We have to add those two figures together. So what's that? Ooh, 11 billion and 4 billion. Ooh, sounds like a lot of money because it's 15 billion just on that, right? And then when you take into account, yeah, you know, the tax revenues and the trade cost that we've lost, right, as it reaches up to probably about 60 billion, right, of lost revenue in taxes and trade, right, 60 billion, right, alongside the 15 billion. So right there, you're just talking about 75 billion alone. Right, that's not with everything else, because these figures, right, you know that these figures, they're fucking with these figures. You know that because that's what they do all the time. They just fuck with figures all over the place. So you know that's what they're doing. Right, so that's what they've been doing. Right, but they have been just destroying. Right, and now, right, these guys have lost the economy hundreds of billions of pounds, right, just because, right, I don't understand why you would allow this to happen to this country. You put a complete clown loser in charge of the country, knowing, because everybody told you, right, you know, the problems that Brexit would cause. We all were shouting it from the rooftops. We shouted and shouted and shouted, right, and now the UK economy has completely stopped working. It doesn't work anymore. It's like the rusty old bike that you've got in your garden. Shit don't work no more, right? Don't matter how much times you oil the chain, right, that shit's not going to work no more. Right? So, you know, it's just amazing that you've allowed these people, and you know, Rishi Sunak, who's supposed to be physical, right, you know, he's supposed to be a money man, know all about, this man knows shit about money. That's the thing. Right, that's the thing, because you know that, like, you know, stockbrokers, yeah, because that's what he was. I'm sure he was a stockbroker, but they're just speculators. They're just gamblers, right? And you know, most of them, right, probably don't actually win. They just probably just like balance it out. But you know, so you know, so we know about the top ones, or the ones who go to put themselves in government, even though they're virtually a billionaire. And who the hell wants to work for a salary like that, right? When you're virtually a billionaire. Right. Only billionaires, right, are screaming out to do right, a job, right, that they're probably making more money a day, right, than these guys making a year. Only billionaires are screaming out to do that shit. Right, and that's why we've got a Chancellor that has no clue. Right, and that's why over half the households in this country are cutting back on energy and food. I can guarantee you, yeah, all of those people who said to you, Corbyn would be so bad, he'd be so bad for you, he'd be terrible for you, right? He'd have this country go back to the 1970s, right? If you vote for him, even right, you know, Donald Trump was like, Corbyn would be so bad, he'd be so bad. With bad hair, he's telling you this, right? After he is a shitty president. But he's got the cheek to tell you who would be so bad for you, along with all the rest of those rich people telling you, right, how shit's so bad, how Corbyn would be so bad for you, right? Do you think, right, that any of those people from the TV or from the radio, do you think that one of them today will drive past the petrol station and say, ooh, nearly £2 a litre, ooh, that's very expensive? No, they'll drive past in their Tesla. Right, or even if they've got like a petrol or diesel car, right, they'll fill it and don't care because they've got more than enough money to do that shit. Do you think that any of those people, right, that have told you that, you know what, Corbyn would be so fucking bad for you, do you think that one of those people today will be saying, you know what, heating or eating? One of them, do you think they'll be saying that? Just one of them, any one of them, do you think will be saying that? No. And they all tell you how they know your plight. You can't know their fucking... They can't know your plight. How can they know your plight? They've never been in your position to know your plight. Right? So Boris Johnson's never been in your position to know your plight. How can they? How can they? Boris Johnson thinks that £225,000 a year is chicken feed. He thinks that 400 grand for a flat in London, right, is affordable housing. So how you tell me how the fuck these people can actually understand anything about your life? Right? They stand there, right, from their pedestals and tell you, oh, this guy will be terrible for you. Well, who's turned out terrible for you? Let me think who's turned out terrible for you. I'm going to have a think about this. Boris Johnson's turned out terrible for you. He's fucked you over. Right? He's kicked you right square up the crack of your backside with winkle motherfucking pickers on. And then he's laughed in your face. Right? Because you know why? Because now we've got £2 a litre in petrol and, you know, and obviously diesel's more. Right? You know, I've heard of some petrol stations at £2 fucking 9 pence. That is on a motorway though. You know they're more expensive there. You think to yourself, what the fuck is this when you go on a motorway? But right, £2 fucking 9 motherfucking pence. Seriously. Right? And these people told you that Corbyn would do this to you. That's what they told you. They told you he'd take you back to the fucking 1970s. You know, we've gone back to the fucking 1970s, right, with 2022 fuel prices. But we're back in the 1970s. Right? The only thing we haven't got yet is the Austin motherfucking Allegro. Right? That's the only thing we haven't got, right? Or the fucking Morris Ital. You see? Right? Or they could even go, you know, it could even get worse. They could bring back the fucking mini metro. Right? After making such a fantastic mini in the first place, right? Then they went and made the mini metro. Everyone just started, when you saw the mini metro, everyone just done the thing. You know what dogs do? Just like, what the fuck is that? Seriously, do you know what I mean? That's why this country is so fucked up. Right? Because they've taken us back to the 1970s, and in the 1970s we ended up, right, making really shit cars after we made brilliant cars like the fucking Triumph Stag. Right? Then we started making some shit. Right? You know, listen, I quite think that the Morris Minor was a car of its time. Right, so you know, I think that was a car of its time. Do you know what I mean? And I quite like them, right? But you know, just look at all the crap. The Wolsey, the fucking Princess. Seriously, who does a car? Makes a car at that drives at that angle? Who does that? Only people who would years later vote to shoot themselves in both feet and both hands because they're a bunch of stupid ass racist fools. Only a country like that and the people in that country could produce shit like that. Oh dear, dear, dear. MP Heather Weaver has said that Blackpool and Birmingham are complete shitholes and nobody should ever want to live there because they're complete crap places to live. Now I wonder, right, if that's going to go down like how it did, yeah, for Emily Thornberry. You know Emily Thornberry, hey, woman with the fat neck. Because you know that her neck is so fat, right? You can't tell me Emily Thornberry's not got a fat neck. I like Emily Thornberry, yeah, but the woman's neck is really fat. You know, if her husband decided, you know what, I'm going to kill this bitch, right? He could not get both his hands round her neck to strangle her, right? Because the woman's neck is thicker than Mike Tyson's, right? So they say, hey, woman with the fat neck, right? Emily Thornberry, right? Remember when she said about the guy with all the England flags and all that all over his shit, and she said, oh, you know, wouldn't want to live here or whatever, do you know what I mean? And you know, they have never let her live it down. So we'll see how long this lasts with Heather Weaver, with this MP Heather Weaver. But I think it will probably be like, it'll probably go down, you know, it'll probably go down R8. You know, they'll talk about it for a couple of days, but in years' time we won't know nothing more about it. The Daily Mail have dubbed Google being biased. I said, well, you'd know all about that, because just remember, yeah, just a couple of weeks ago, there was running stories about Keir Starmer, right? And they go, Day 15 of Beergate on the front pages. Do you know what I mean? And so they would know all about bias, right? Even though they've given us someone, right, who has made our fuel costs go to over £2 a litre, Right, we've got mad. All of our food costs are completely crazy. Right, businesses are going out of business on a daily basis. But the Daily Mail will talk about how Google is biased after they can do all of that type of shit to us. That's under some joke business, under some real joke business. Right. A charity failed the other day to stop the Rwanda deportations, which is going to take place tomorrow. But apparently they're going back to court today to see if they can get it stopped. Do you know what I mean? But I think a few of the people that are on there might have applied. That might have applied try and take injunctions out as well. So we'll have to see how that shit goes. Right, I saw a report from Brexit, from a fisherman, right, who voted for Brexit, right, and now he's losing over £300 a day, right, and obviously you know that's going to be quite devastating for for small businesses. So he's losing over £300 a day, and the bitch ass fool wishes that he never ever voted for Brexit, and he says he was fooled into it, right, by Boris Johnson, who he's got pictures of him and Boris Johnson hugging up and all them things after Boris Johnson was telling him, don't worry, after Brexit your business is going to be flying. So you should have said to him, listen, there are flying fish, but I believe they're in the Caribbean, not around here. Flying fish don't swim around these pots. That's what that's what he should have said to Boris Johnson in the first place, and he should have sidekicked him up the backside, right, and said to him, get out of Brexit, because you know what, Brexit is no good for Brexit. And so far, that's what the case has proved. His business is being fucked over on a daily basis. £300 because obviously he's had to employ extra staff, and there's so much more paperwork, right, that they have to fill in now. Right, and you think to yourself, well, we was telling you this, and you thought to yourself, no, I'm racist, and I'm going to stay with the racism angle. I'm going to vote to shoot myself square in the forehead. And it serves you right what's happening to you, Mr. Fisherman in Brexit. I say to you, good. Serves you right, fool. Jacob Rees-Mogg has been handed a poison chalice. He's the Brexit. He's a minister for Brexit opportunities, and as there are no Brexit opportunities, it's a poison chalice. Right? But he has come up with some good stuff, because obviously we've got the whole Hoovers thing, and something about fracking. I don't. You know what? I'm just not listening. When these guys speak, I'm just thinking to myself, you know what? I don't even want to listen to you no more, because you're fucking asses. All of you, you're all fucking idiots. So I don't really want to listen to you anymore, right? Because none of them have got anything good to say, and so much of them are still trying to push that as if to say Brexit was, I don't know, a good idea. And clearly it can't have been a good idea, right? Because Brexit has cost the UK billions in trade and tax revenues. Billions it's cost the United Kingdom. We'll probably talk about hundreds of billions, really. Do you know what I mean? The figures is astronomical. Right? What these guys have done to this country is just astronomical. Right. Liz Truss has been dubbed Brexit Queen after chaos broke out in the cabinet last week. They must be arguing about all sorts of different things, because today they want to put something through Parliament that they're going to be able to change the law so that they can override the Brexit protocol. But obviously the EU have already told them, listen, that would be a bad idea. Like when you tried to go into a club, right, and you had something illegal in your pockets, and your friend turned around to you and said to you, that would be a bad idea, because your friend speaks like a bouncer. That would be a bad idea, because the bouncer search you in here. Right? That, right, is what the EU is telling Britain. That would be a really bad idea. It would be a poor decision. And you guys are used to making poor decisions, though, aren't it? Yeah. Say, what would you expect, right, when you've got Liz Truss, right, who would turn around to the people in this country and say to them, oh, don't worry about it, right, if you want to go and fight for Ukraine, you go and fight for the Ukraine, right, even though that would be 100% illegal, right, it's illegal to do that, to go and fight for another country, right, you cannot leave this country and go and fight for another country, unless you're going to Israel. If you're going to Israel, right, then it's like, oh, when you get back, people are like, we can't see those white people who are coming back through Heathrow or Gatwick or Luton or wherever the hell they come back through. Right? We can't see those white people that are coming back through that have just been right and was fighting for Israel. Because remember, yeah, everyone who's got this Israel background, yeah, they've all right got to go and do national service. Well, I don't know if they still have to, but I know they did before. Had to go and do national service, right? But we haven't got right a load of people who have gone to Israel, right, arrested on the way back, right? But we do have a load of Muslims that have been, right, and a load of brown and black people that have, right, that have been to war zones to fight for other countries or to fight for whoever, right, and have come back to this country and say lock them up. Right, and take them straight. The police are waiting at the airport for them, right, to go and take them to lock their ass up, right. But right when because remember, this now, right, where we've got these two guys, because we've got two guys on death row, right, in Ukraine, right. So where we've got those two guys, right. Remember, this is one of the first times, right, that we're going to see this, right, from virtually a white point of view, right, because Liz Truss said that. Right, but she would have never said to a Palestinian, right, to a brown person, well, you are more than welcome to go to Palestine to go and fight, to go and help free the Palestinians. No way. And she'll never allow your ass to go to Yemen. She'll be like, no, when you come back, the police are going to be waiting there for you. The police are going to be waiting there for you when you get back. That's what would have happened. But so this is the first time we're seeing this play out in the Caucasian world now, right? And if you notice, right, no one's talking about, oh, when these people come back, as soon as they come back, right, they're gonna arrest their ass. No one's talking about that at all. No one said that at all. And there's quite a few Brits that have gone out there. One's just been killed recently. Right? So there's quite a few out there. He left the British Army to go over there. Right? So there's quite a few. Right, so that's why when you've got right people like pencil neck Tin Lizzie Truss, right, who has no clue about her own brief, right, and now they've dubbed her the Queen of Brexit. Right, the Lords have threatened to block plans to override the Brexit deal, and you see that's the reason why we really do need the second chamber. Right, because they can just say, well, listen, no, you know what, you can't really go through this, and they can just send it back. They can just send it back to the Houses of Parliament, and until it's ratified in the House of Lords, right, it can't be taken to the Queen, because obviously, all these things have to be taken to the Queen on a weekly basis, and the Queen has to say yes. You can do this and you can do that. Whereas, the Queen should have said to Boris Johnson in the first place, listen, I know you got in by saying I'm going to get Brexit done. Well, make sure that it's not done in this country, okay? Now get your fucking fat ass out of my palace. That's what the Queen should have done. But anyway, guys, look, I've been on for far too long now, even though my video ended really abruptly the other day, and I'm sorry for that. But, my friends, I have to bow out of here. So this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.